Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist, and today I'm going to be doing a Crystron deck. So I'm really excited for this one because this is an amazing deck that actually lets you synchro summon on your opponent's turn. And actually has the most amazing link monster in the entire game, which is Crystron Needle Fiber in the archetype, which is really cool. So before we get into this, guys, I really quickly want to give a shout out to Farfa because he actually helped me learn this deck, whether he knows it or not. He actually posted a table 500 of this deck a long time ago, and I was going back and actually happened upon it in my recommendeds on YouTube. Saw it and was like, let me just watch this, and I realized I hadn't profiled it, and so I watched how the deck played and listened to him explain how the deck works and was like, wow, I can't believe I haven't profiled that and haven't played with that deck. So I've been playing with this deck a lot recently because of that video, and I really quickly want to give a shout out to him and definitely go comment on his video and be like, hey, bring table 500 back, because it's literally one of the best series on YouTube. So without further ado, guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell on there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description because we got some awesome rewards for you guys, like getting your name in the description for every single video, getting a signed card sent to the mail, or even getting requested deck profile just like this one every single month that you are a patron. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're playing 3 copies of Crystron Citrate. Citrate is really cool because it's the main one that you want to get on your side of the field, because during your opponent's main phase or battle phase, you can target a non-tuner in your graveyard and special summon it, and it has its effects negated, and immediately that card resolves. You synchro summon using this card and only that card, and it's a quick effect. And it also has the ability that you banish the monsters instead of sending them to the graveyard, so you can get them back with your copies of Crystron Impact. We then play 2 copies of Ronan. Ronan is really cool because what this card does is it lets you, during your opponent's main phase or battle phase, target one of your banished non-tuner monsters and then synchro summon using only this card and that card, which is pretty cool, but you have to synchro summon into one synchro type machine monster using only this card and that card, and then also these cards are sent to the graveyard, so it lets you roll into your other synchro plays with Citrate, which is really cool. I play 1 copy of Quan. Quan is kind of here just in case you need it, because during your opponent's main phase or battle phase, you can special summon a non-tuner monster from your hand, but it has its effects negated, if any, and if you do, immediately after this card resolves, synchro summon a machine monster using that monster in this card, which is pretty good. It helps out quite a lot to go for your Quandrax, which is really good. I like that ability to be able to go for it during your opponent's turn and to be able to synchro summon, but usually you're going to want to go for Needle Fiber and then summon it out, so that's why you only play this card at 1. You play 3 copies of Sulfnir. Sulfnir is probably the best card in the deck that you're going to be trying to get to, along with Citrate, because if this card is in your hand or graveyard, you can discard a Crystron card except another Crystron Sulfnir, and then special summon this card in defense position and destroy 1 card you control, which is always going to be the Sulfnir that you're going to destroy. And if you do, you get to special summon a Crystron monster from your deck, which can be either like Rosenix or your Smyger or even the Turtle. It depends on what you need to be able to special summon out. Usually I summon the Turtle and then pop the Turtle to summon Citrate, and then you have your graveyard set up and your field set up, which is really cool. Something that Farfa said about this deck that I really totally agree with is you have to think 2 synchro summons ahead when you're playing this deck. We then play a single copy of Rosenix. Rosenix lets you banish it from the graveyard, and then it has the ability to special summon a token to your side of the field. But for the most part, your Crystrons from here on out share the same ability, that you can pop them and then special summon a tuner, because this monster's effect is you can target 1 face-up card you control, and you cannot special summon a monster from the extra deck except for machine synchro monsters, and also destroy this card, and if you do, special summon a Crystron tuner from your deck, and then you can also use the effect to banish it and then special summon a token. We then play 3 copies of the Crystron Dragon, or the Purple Dragon is what I always call it. What this card does is really neat. It actually has a really cool ability that you can target 1 face-up card you control and special summon. You cannot special summon monsters with their extra deck except for machine-type synchro monsters, and destroy this card, and if you do, special summon a Crystron tuner from your deck, and you can banish this card from your graveyard to add a Crystron monster from your deck to your hand, which is really cool, where Smyger actually does the exact same thing, except it lets you add a Crystron spell or trap. So you want to usually use Smyger so you can search your Crystron Impact to get it directly from your deck to your hand. We then play 2 copies of the Crystron Turtle for the last 2 Crystron monsters. You play this for the level manipulation of being able to get into level 4 synchros with Citrate, or be able to go into whatever synchro play you particularly need. It also has the ability that you can banish from your graveyard and then special summon a Crystron monster in your hand, which comes up sometimes to be able to get the Citrate out of your hand on your side of the field, but usually you're going to use Smyger from the deck to be able to search your field spell, or search your trap card and get your Citrate on your side of the field. Smyger is just so good as a 3 of in this deck. So that's it for the Crystron monsters. Let's get into the generic monsters that we play in here too. So for the generic monsters, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Scrap Recycler. Scrap Recycler is really pivotal to this deck because you really need it to be able to use your scrap combos and go into your combos where you're using the where you're sending your copy of Selfnir to the graveyard so you can start going into your plays. It's really important that you get a copy of a monster in your hand that can send a monster from deck to the graveyard, so you want to play the 2 copies of Scrap Recycler. We then play a single copy of Scrap Golem, because Scrap Golem lets you target a level 4 or lower scrap monster in your graveyard and special summon it to either player's field. So you're going to want to special summon out your Scrap Recycler and then use the Scrap Recycler's effect essentially twice, which is really cool. We then play 3 copies of Genex Undyne. Genex Undyne is really good in here because it lets you send a water monster from your deck to the graveyard and then add a Genex controller from your deck to your hand. It essentially helps you send Selfnir to the graveyard, so you can then pop the Selfnir, special summon another monster to your side of the field, like your copy of your Crystron, Citrete, or the Turtle or Smiger, whichever one you need to set up your field so when you go into your opponent's turn, you can start synchro summoning. We then play a single copy of Genex Controller to search off of the copy of Undyne. I play 2 copies of Mathematician. Now, I've been going back and forth between playing the Mathematician and not, but I always want to open up something that I can normal summon and Foolish Burial and have a level 3 on the field, so I can go for level 5s or level 4s or whatever level I need to go for synchro plays. So the Mathematician comes in super handy because when it's normal summon, you can send a level 4 or lower monster from your deck to the graveyard, and it also cannot, if it's destroyed by battle, then you get to draw a card, which is super nice. We then play 3 copies of Ash Blossom. The 3 Ash Blossoms just basically say no to your opponent, which is the reason that you play this card at 3, is because you just want to stop your opponent from doing all their shenanigans. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Call by the Grave. The Call by the Graves are really important for the deck because you just want to stop your opponent while you're trying to use your Selfnir. If they try and Ash Blossom you, you can stop them with this, and it comes in super handy to be able to stop your opponent. 1 copy of Monster Reborn. The Monster Reborn is just a good extender in this deck to help you get your copies of Citrete, your Smigers, your Selfnirs back on your side of the field so you can pop them and then special summon another tuner from the deck or whatever you need. We then play 3 copies of Starlight Junction, which is probably the most beautiful field spell in the entire game, and fight me if it's not, because this card is gorgeous. And I really wish it had a holo printing. Like, could you imagine Starlight Junction in a secret rare? Like, oh my god, why have they not done that yet? This card has had 1 printing and it's not holo. Why? This card is gorgeous. But it's not just pretty, it does a really cool effect that every time you synchro summon a monster, once per turn, when you synchro summon a monster from your extra deck, you can target 1 card on the field and shuffle it back into the deck. So you can interrupt your opponent by having a Compulse on your side of the field by using your Citrete to synchro summon into Quandrite, and then Quandrite is on the field because you synchro summoned into it, and then immediately shuffle a card on your opponent's side of the field to disrupt them to get rid of a card. That's insane. That's really good. So that's it for the spells. Let's get into the traps, which we only play 1 trap, and then it's 3 copies of Crystron Impact. Impact is really good in this deck because it lets you target 1 of your banished Crystron monsters and special summon it. And if you do, your opponent and if your opponent controls a face-up monster, you change their defense to 0, and then during either player's turn except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, when a card or effect is activated that targets a Crystron, you can banish this card from your graveyard and negate the effect. So it has targeting protection. It special summons back 1 of your monsters, which is going to be really helpful because Citrete banishes itself to be able to synchro summon, and it's going to help you go into other synchro plays that's going to be able to help you get into your other plays. So this card is really good to be able to play as a 3 of. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So then we play a single copy for the extra deck. We're playing a single copy of Crystron Quindraxite. I think I'm probably saying that wrong. But I play 1 copy of the level 9 Crystron that's Drax. I just call this Drax. But what it does is it takes 2 or more tuner monsters and 1 non-tuner monster. This card's a little bit awkward to go into sometimes, but it's a really awesome monster, and it's kind of like the win condition. So it does take a little setup to go into this card, but it's insanely good. But if this card is synchro summon, you can target monsters your opponent controls and or in their graveyard up to the number of synchro materials used to synchro summon this card and banish them. So you can target, usually you're going to have to put at least 3 into this card to banish the cards. And if this Synchro Summon card is destroyed by battle or by card effect, you can target a banished monster, except this card, and special summon it back to your field. So essentially sets you up for an additional Synchro play, which is amazing. We play 1 copy of Crystron Phoenix. Crystron Phoenix is insanely good in here too. It's essentially like a Harpy's Feather Duster on diesel fuel. Because what it does is if this card is Synchro Summon, you can banish all spells and traps your opponent controls and in their graveyard. And if this card is Synchro Summon, card is destroyed by battle or by card effect, you can target one other monster in the graveyard and special summon it. That's pretty good. We then play 1 copy of the level 5 Amatrix, which is really good in this deck too. It's a level 5 Synchro monster, but if this card is Synchro Summon, you can change all special summon monster your opponent controls to defense mode. And if the Synchro Summon card is destroyed by battle or by card effect, you can target a Crystron monster in your graveyard, except a Synchro monster, and special summon it. 2 copies of Quandrax. Quandrax is really good because it lets you Synchro Summon during your opponent's turn, but it doesn't really care what you Synchro Summon for, because once per chain during your opponent's main phase or battle phase, you can quick effect immediately after this card resolves, Synchro Summon using materials using this card you control, and if this card is Synchro Summon, is destroyed by battle or by card effect, you can target a Crystron monster except Synchro and special summon it. We then play a single copy of Satellite Warrior. Satellite Warrior is really good in here too, because it lets you, it's really easy to Synchro Summon into. You have to have like at least a level 8 or a level 7 to go into this card. I mean, it's not super hard to go into, and it's really good to be able to just blow boards on your opponent and summon out a really big monster that can attack your opponent, like with a big attack points. We then play a single copy of Black Rose, because it's hilarious to Black Rose our opponent during their turn, because it can immediately interrupt your opponent if you have Quandrax and a level 3 on your side of the field, which is really easy to do. Super Heavy Samurai Stealth Ninja is another card that I play in here, because it is a machine monster, and a lot of the cards lock you into machine monsters. And this is one of the only machine level 7 monsters that I could come up with that was decent. And it has a really cool effect that can attack when it's in defense position. And you can also, if this card attacks your opponent directly this turn, it has the ability to half this card's original defense until the end phase of turn. It can attack your opponent directly, and then once per turn, during the next standby phase after this card was destroyed by a card effect or sent to the graveyard, you can special summon it back. So it's pretty good at reviving itself. Don Draxter is another good level 7 that you can play in this deck for interruptions. Shooting Riser Dragon, you can special summon off your copy of Needle Fiber, which is really good. Powered Inzectron, I'm not a big fan of this card, but I like it in here for the level 6, because it's like the only level 6 Synchro that's a machine. So it's pretty good for that reason. Coral Dragon, because you can again special summon it off your copy of your Needle Fiber, and it also pops stuff and lets you draw when you Synchro Summon with it. Chambara to help you OTK. A single copy of Formula Synchron, because it can help you go into extra plays, like going into your Satellite Warrior, or going into a copy of your Crystron Quan. It can be a level 2 Synchro monster that you can go 2-4 and or 2 plus a 4 and then go with a 3, and it gets you to all the way right there to 9, which can be really helpful. And then we play a single copy of Scrap Wyvern for the scrap plays, and a single copy of Needle Fiber. So I just feel like you need 1 Needle Fiber, and I feel like it's going to go to 1 on the next list anyways. So I feel like it's fine to play this card just at 1. If you have 2 of them, you can drop something in the extra deck for a second one, but I like Scrap Wyvern and playing Crystron Needle Fiber because they help out each other a little bit. If I was going to drop anything in the extra deck, it might be the Stealth Ninja or the Powered Inzectron, one of the two, to go for the copy of the second Needle Fiber. So that's totally up to you. So that's it for the deck, guys. It's pretty insane. I like this deck. It's a deck that you really have to think of 2 Synchro Summons ahead, because you're trying to think of going here and then going here. So you have to go from the bottom to Synchro into this, and then go from here with your other 3 monsters to go for Quandrite, or the Chondrite super version, or whatever it is. You have to kind of think about how you're going to get there, which is really, really cool. I like that. So anyways, guys, I hope you did enjoy it. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Definitely hit that bell notification and become part of Notification Squad, and tell me what you think of this video down in the comments down below, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.